Baki Hanma. He's just as buff as me, and in today's video I will be breaking down how strong the Son of Ogre actually is. For this video I will be going up to the current anime for Baki, but I will mention stuff that does happen a little bit right after regarding speed, but aside from that I'd rather save the later parts of the manga for a future video regarding Baki's skill. As when it comes to breaking down just how powerful Baki's stats are, you pretty much get all the impressive feats you need during the anime. And also I want this video to reach a more general audience and not just manga readers. And I think this goes without saying, all calcs mentioned in this video will be linked so I don't have people saying I'm waffling, and without further ado, let's get right into the scaling. Baki, at least for anime fans, was already regarded as the strongest boy in the world, surpassing the mountains of power like Doppo, Shibukawa, Retsu, Katsumi, Hanayama, and essentially all of his predecessors. This is extremely important to know, as Hanayama is someone who was able to fight Spec, the same guy capable of destroying the Statue of Liberty with his bare hands, which has been calculated at around 0.02 tons of TNT, or the small building level range. This tier is honestly pretty consistent all things considered, since Retsu has pulverized walls along with cracking a 10-ton bell, which both calculations have come out to be small building level. Hanayama, even at the age of 14, which by the way a 13-year-old Baki would go on to clash with a stronger Hanayama, was able to destroy a metal gate with 0.35 tons of TNT, which is enough energy to destroy buildings. So the small building to building level tier is where I'd place 13 to 15-year-old Baki, or around up to where season 2 of Baki currently takes place. You could definitely argue higher, but I feel like just for the sake of consistency, we'll just place him here. It isn't until the events of Son of Ogre where we start to really see Baki reach a whole new tier of power. You see, Baki by the point of Son of Ogre can legit fight imaginary beings that actually harm him, and we see him cause an earthquake when fighting against an imaginary Yujiro. This feat was calculated to be around 15 tons of TNT, or around the city block level, and this was just bro training as well, but even before this he goes on to fight Oliva, who was able to cause an earthquake on a much larger scale than the training he was doing, and Pickle, to somewhat of a degree, was able to tank the dinosaur wiping meteor. The amount of energy Pickle actually took was about 2.1 megatons of TNT, or enough energy to destroy a small city. And I know the gap seems pretty big here and you guys might just say that I'm wanking, or maybe this is a big stretch, but Baki honestly just grows insanely powerful in universe. It happens. It gets so ridiculous to the point where he's legit the only one who could take on Yujiro to some degree. And this is the same guy who even earlier in the series has prevented earthquakes with his fists, which has been calculated to be around town level and is above the military and constantly gets compared to nuclear bombs. And it's also just implied Yujiro simply scales above every single military weapon, like he is the strongest thing on the planet. Which, if you want to take at face value, would mean he would be above nuclear bombs that reach over 50 megatons of TNT. Baki should scale to at least the earlier statements and feats of Yujiro, as he's always constantly improving, and even back then Doppo forced him to use Demon back, and then we have in season 2 Yujiro also hyping up Oliva, and then just for him to get crumpled the season later. It's just consistent that he's constantly improving, and despite this Baki can at least somewhat fight him. Now I don't think Baki is like relatively below Yujiro. I still think Yujiro is kind of just in a tier of his own, but the fact that Baki like is actually getting his acknowledgement and Yujiro sees him as a challenge, which is ridiculous for the in-universe of Baki, and it's pretty much said after the Pickle fight, Baki's only next challenge has to be Yujiro. So I'd say Baki's AP before fighting Oliva and Pickle would be around the building to city block range, with bro then evolving so much that he surpasses Oliva, Pickle, and harms Yujiro to a degree, putting him in that town to city level range by the end of Son of Ogre. Now, as for Baki's speed, I think it's relatively consistent with itself, at least early on. Even as early as 13 years old, Baki is blitzing the human eye and characters are constantly bullet blitzing in the series, and Baki is able to cast the same move as Katsumi by the end of the maximum tournament, that being the Mach punch, which allows him to surpass the speed of sound. It isn't really until Son of Ogre where Baki's speed really starts to reach ridiculous levels. You see, in Son of Ogre, Kaku Kaioh teaches Katsumi to essentially exceed the speed of sound with only using a few joints in his body, with Kaku saying to Katsumi that he can exceed speeds faster than 1,000 miles per minute, putting his speed over 78 times the speed of sound, or high hypersonic. This same Katsumi who perfects the Mach fist then performs worse than Baki does against a Pickle who would be moving above what he sees to be above the concept of speed. speed. This would put him above at least Katsumi's Mach fist, which makes sense as Pickle himself gets compared to lightning, who Baki is able to avoid by a hair in Kaioh's words. Retsu Kaiohs, not Kaku Kaiohs. This feat has been calculated to be at over Mach 300 or in the massively hypersonic range, which for this era of Baki is pretty consistent. Not only does Pickle get compared to lightning, but Baki himself also does, and Yujiro has been said to be capable of evading lightning. Yujiro also blocks one of Baki's fastest blows, which is him trying to go for Yujiro's chin. And then later on in the fight, Baki is just clashing with this same Yujiro. And this feat has been calculated higher than the reaction feat that Baki did against Pickle, or specifically Mach 441. So the massively hypersonic tier seems pretty consistent by the end of Son of Ogre. Now, there is the light speed jab at the start of Baki though, but I feel like there's not too much consistency behind that. And besides, I'm not fully caught up and this video is mainly for the anime viewers, so I can't speak too much on it. But just know that light speed Baki does exist. In conclusion, Baki consistently should be in that city level tier of power with massively hypersonic combat and reaction speeds. For a kid that's mainly known for his martial arts, his stats are pretty crazy, and it's clear that this guy is not just a regular superhuman. If you want a video regarding Baki's martial art prowess, go check out my Garo vs Baki equals stats video I did a while back, and let me know if you want a video dedicated to Baki's skill. With that being said, thanks for watching, share with your friends, share with your grandma, let me know down in the comments what other Baki related videos I should do in the future, and peace, thanks for the money.